The remaining tribes of Israel inherited land in Canaan as allotted by Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the tribal leaders. These 9.5 tribes received their inheritance by means of sacred lots, in accordance with the Lord's command through Moses. Moses had already given inheritance of land to the 2.5 tribes on the east side of the Jordan River. The tribe of Joseph had become 2 separate tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim, and the Levites were given no land at all, only towns to live in and the surrounding pasture lands for their flocks and herds. So the distribution of the land was in strict accordance with the Lord's instruction to Moses. A delegation from the tribe of Judah, led by Caleb son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite, came to Joshua at Gilgal. Caleb said to Joshua, "Remember what the Lord said to Moses, the man of God, about you and me when we were at Kadesh Barnea. I was 40 years old when Moses, the servant of the Lord, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to explore the land of Canaan. I returned and gave from my heart a good report, but my brothers who went with me frightened the people and discouraged them from entering the promised land. For my part, I followed the Lord my God completely. So that day Moses promised me, the land of Canaan on which you were just walking will be your special possession, and that your descendants forever, because you wholeheartedly followed the Lord my God. Now as you can see, the Lord has kept me alive, and well as he promised for all these 45 years since Moses made this promise, even while Israel wandered in the wilderness. Today I am 85 years old. I am as strong now as I was when Moses sent me on that journey, and I can still travel and fight as well as I could then. So I'm asking you to give me the hill country that the Lord promised me. You will remember that as scouts we found the Anakites living there in great walled cities. But if the Lord is with me, I will drive them out of the land, just as the Lord said." So Joshua blessed Caleb son of Jephunneh, and gave Hebron to him as an inheritance. Hebron still belongs to the descendants of Caleb son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite, because he wholeheartedly followed the Lord, the God of Israel. Previously, Hebron had been called Kiriath Arba. It had been named after Arba, a great hero of the Anakites, and the land had rest from war. The land assigned to the families of the tribe of Judah reached southward to the border of Edom, with the wilderness of Zin being its southernmost point. The southern boundary began at the south bay of the Dead Sea, ran south of Scorpion Pass into the wilderness of Zin, and went south of Kadesh Barnea to Hezron. Then it went up to Adar, where it turned toward Karka. From there it passed to Asmon until it finally reached the brook of Egypt, which it followed to the Mediterranean Sea. This was their southern boundary. The eastern boundary extended along the Dead Sea to the mouth of the Jordan River. The northern boundary began at the bay where the Jordan River empties into the Dead Sea, crossed to Beth Hogla, then proceeded north of Beth Arabah to the stone of Bohan. Bohan was Reuben's son. From that point it went through the valley of Achor to Debir, turning north toward Gilgal, which is across from the slopes of Adumim on the south side of the valley. From there the border extended to the springs at En Shemesh and on to En Rogel. The boundary then passed through the valley of the son of Hinnom along the southern slopes of the Jebusites, where the city of Jerusalem is located. Then it went west to the top of the mountains above the valley of Hinnom, and on top of the northern end of the valley of Rephaim. From there the border extended from the top of the mountain to the springs at the waters of Nephtoah, and from there to the towns at Mount Ephron. Then it turned toward Baalah, that is Kiriath Jearim. The border circled west of Baalah to Mount Seir, passed along to the town of Kizalon on the northern slope of Mount Jearim, and went down to Beth Shemesh and on to Timnah. The boundary line then proceeded to the slope of the hill north of Ekron, where it turned toward Shikharon and Mount Baalah. It passed Jabneel and ended at the Mediterranean Sea. The western boundary was the shoreline of the Mediterranean Sea. These are the boundaries for the families of the tribe of Judah. The Lord instructed Joshua to assign some of Judah's territory to Caleb son of Jephunneh. So Caleb was given the city of Arba, that is Hebron, which had been named after Anak's ancestor. Caleb drove out 3 Anakites, Sheshai, Ahiman, and Talmai, descendants of Anak. Then he fought against the people living in the town of Debir, formerly called Kiriath Sepher. Caleb said, "I will give my daughter Achsah in marriage to the one who attacks and captures Kiriath Sepher." Othniel, the son of Caleb's brother Kenaz, was the one who conquered it, so Achsah became Othniel's wife. When Achsah married Othniel, she urged him to ask her father for an additional field. As she got down from off her donkey, Caleb asked her, "What is it? What can I do for you?" She said, "Give me a further blessing. You have been kind enough to give me land in the Negev. Please give me springs as well." So Caleb gave her the upper and lower springs. This was the inheritance given to the families of the tribe of Judah. The towns of Judah, situated along the borders of Edom in the extreme south of Kabzeel, Eder, Jager, Kenah, Dimonah, Adadah, Kadesh, Hazor, Ithnan, Ziph, Telem, Bealoth, Hazor Haditah, Kirioth Hezron, that is Hazor, Amam, Shema, Moladah, Hazar Gadah, Heshmon, Beth Pelet, Hazar Shual, Beersheba, Beziathiah, Baalah, Iam, Ezem, Eltalad, Kezel, Hormah, Ziklag, Madmanah, Sansanah, Lebaoth, Shilhim, Ain, and Ramon. In all, there were 29 of these towns with their surrounding villages. The following towns, situated in the western foothills, were also given to Judah: Eshtaol, Zorah, Ashnah, Zanoah, En-Ganim, Tappuah, Enam, Jarmuth, Adulam, Sokah, Azekah, Shearaim, Adathaim, Gederah, and Gederathaim. In all, there were 14 towns with their surrounding villages. Also included were Zenan, Hadashah, Migdal-Gad, Dilian, Mizpah, Joktheel, Lachish, Bozkath, Eglon, Kabon, Lamam, Kitlish, Gederoth, Beth Dagon, Naamah, and Makkedah, 16 towns with their surrounding villages. Besides these, there were Libnah, Ether, Ashan, Ibtah, Ashnah, Nezib, Keilah, Akzib, and Marishah, 9 towns with their surrounding villages. The territory of the tribe of Judah also included all the towns and villages of Ekron. From Ekron, the boundary extended west and included the towns near Ashdod with their surrounding villages. It also included Ashdod with its towns and villages, and Gaza with its towns and villages as far as the Brook of Egypt and along the coast of the Mediterranean Sea. Judah also received the following towns in the hill country: Shamir, Jader, Sokah, Dinah, Kiriath Sanah, that is Debir, Anab, Eshtemoh, Anim, Goshen, Holon, and Gilo, 11 towns with their surrounding villages. Also included were the towns of Arab, Dumah, Eshan, Janam, Beth Tappuah, Aphekah, Humtah, Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, and Zior, 9 towns with their surrounding villages. Beside these, there were Maon, Carmel, Ziph, Jutah, Jezreel, Jokdeam, Zanoah, Cain, Gibeah, and Timnah, 10 towns with their surrounding villages. In addition, there were Halhul, Beth Zur, Gedor, Maaroth, Beth Anath, and Eltekon, 6 towns with their surrounding villages. There were also Kiriath Baal, that is Kiriath Jearim, and Rabbah, 2 towns with their surrounding villages. In the wilderness, there were the towns of Beth Arabah, Middin, Sekakah, Nibshan, the city of Salt, and En-Gedi, 6 towns with their surrounding villages. But the tribe of Judah could not drive out the Jebusites, who lived in the city of Jerusalem, so the Jebusites live there among the people of Judah to this day. The allotment to the descendants of Joseph extended from the Jordan River near Jericho, east of the waters of Jericho, through the wilderness and into the hill country of Bethel. From Bethel, that is Luz, it ran over to Adaroth and the territory of the Arakites. Then it descended westward to the territory of the Japhletites, as far as lower Beth Horon, then to Gezer, and on over to the Mediterranean Sea. The families of Joseph's sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, received their inheritance. The following territory was given to the families of the tribe of Ephraim as their inheritance. The eastern boundary of their inheritance began at Adaroth Adar. From there it ran to upper Beth Horon, then onto the Mediterranean Sea. The northern boundary began at the Mediterranean, ran east past Mikmethath, then curved eastward past Taanath Shiloh to the east of Genoa. From Genoa it turned southward to Adaroth and Naarah, touched Jericho, and ended at the Jordan River. From Tappuah, the border extended westward, following the Kanah ravine to the Mediterranean Sea. This is the inheritance given to the families of the tribe of Ephraim. Ephraim was also given some towns with surrounding villages in the territory of the half-tribe of Manasseh. They did not drive out the Canaanites out of Gezer, however, so the people of Gezer live as slaves among the people of Ephraim to this day. The next allotment of land was given to the half tribe of Manasseh, the descendants of Joseph's older son. Gilead and Bashan on the east side of the Jordan had already been given to the family of Machir because he was a great warrior. Machir was Manasseh's oldest son and was the father of Gilead. Land on the west side of Jordan was allotted to the remaining families within the tribe of Manasseh: Abiezer, Halek, Azriel, Shechem, Hepher, and Shemitah. However, Zelophehad, son of Hepher, who was a descendant of Manasseh, Machir, and Gilead, had no sons. Instead, he had 5 daughters. Their names were Mahlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. These women came to Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the Israelite leaders and said, "The Lord commanded Moses to give us an inheritance along with the men of our tribe." So Joshua gave them an inheritance along with their uncles, as the Lord had commanded. As a result, Manasseh's inheritance came to 10 parcels of land, in addition to the land of Gilead and Bashan across the Jordan River, because the female descendants of Manasseh received an inheritance along with the male descendants. The land of Gilead was given to the rest of the male descendants of Manasseh. The boundary of the tribe of Manasseh extended from the border of Asher to Michmethath, which is east of Shechem. Then the boundary went south from Michmethath to the people living near the spring of Tappuah. The land surrounding Tappuah belonged to Manasseh, but the town of Tappuah on the border of Manasseh's territory belonged to the tribe of Ephraim. From the spring of Tappuah, the border of the Manasseh, it followed from the northern side of Kanah Ravine to the Mediterranean Sea. Several towns in Manasseh's territory belonged to the tribe of Ephraim. The land south of the ravine belonged to Ephraim, and the land north of the ravine belonged to Manasseh, with the Mediterranean Sea forming Manasseh's western border. North of Manasseh was the territory of Asher, and to the east was the territory of Issachar. The following towns within the territory of Issachar and Asher were given to Manasseh: Bethshan, Ibleam, Dor, that is Naphoth Dor, Endor, Taanach, and Megiddo, with their respective villages. But the descendants of Manasseh were unable to occupy these towns. They could not drive out the Canaanites who continued to live there. Later on, however, when the Israelites became strong enough, they forced the Canaanites to work as slaves, but they did not drive them out of the land. The descendants of Joseph came to Joshua and asked, "Why have you given us only one portion of land when the Lord has given us so many people?" Joshua replied, "If the hill country of Ephraim is not large enough for you, clear out land for yourselves in the forest where the Perizzites and Rephaites live." They said, "The hill country is not enough for us, and the Canaanites in the lowlands around Bethshan and the valley of Jezreel have iron chariots. They are too strong for us." Then Joshua said to the tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh, the descendants of Joseph, "Since you are so large and strong, you will be given more than one portion. The forests of the hill country will be yours as well. Clear as much of the land as you wish and live there, and I am sure you can drive out the Canaanites from the valleys too, even though they are strong and have iron chariots." Now that the land was under Israelite control, the entire Israelite assembly gathered at Shiloh and set up the tabernacle. But there remained 7 tribes who had not yet been allotted their inheritance. Then Joshua asked them, "How long are you going to wait before taking possession of the remaining land the Lord, the God of your ancestors, has given you? Select 3 men from each tribe, and I will send them out to survey the unconquered territory. They will return to me with a written report of their proposed divisions of the inheritance. The scouts will map the land into 7 sections, excluding Judah's territory in the south and Joseph's territory in the north. Then I will cast sacred lots in the presence of the Lord our God to decide which section will be assigned to each tribe. However, the Levites will not receive any land. Their role as priests of the Lord is their inheritance. And the tribes of Gad, Reuben, and the half-tribe of Manasseh won't receive any more land, for they have already received their inheritance, which Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave them on the east side of the Jordan River." As the men who were mapping out the land started on their way, Joshua commanded them, "Go and survey the land. Then return to me your written report, and I will assign the land to the tribes by casting sacred lots in the presence of the Lord here at Shiloh." The men did as they were told and mapped the entire territory into 7 sections, listing the towns in each section. Then they returned to Joshua in the camp at Shiloh. There at Shiloh, Joshua cast sacred lots in the presence of the Lord to determine which tribe should have each section. The first allotment of land went to the families of the tribe of Benjamin. It lay between the territory previously assigned to the tribes of Judah and Joseph. The northern boundary began at the Jordan River, went north of the slope of Jericho, then west through the hill country and the wilderness of Beth Aven. From there the boundary went south to Luz, that is Bethel, and proceeded down to Adaroth Adar, to the top hill of the south of lower Beth Horon. The boundary then ran south along the western edge of the hill facing Beth Horon, ending at the village of Kiriath Baal, that is Kiriath Jearim, one of the towns belonging to the tribe of Judah. This was the western boundary. The southern boundary began at the outskirts of Kiriath Jearim. From there it ran westward to the spring at the waters of Nephtoah, and down to the base of the mountainside beside the valley of the son of Hinnom at the northern end of the valley of Rephaim. From there it went down the valley of Hinnom, crossing south of the slope where the Jebusites lived, and continued down to En Rogel. From En Rogel, the boundary proceeded northeast to En Shemesh and on to Geliloth, which is across from the slopes of Adumim. Then it went down to the stone of Bohan. Bohan was Reuben's son. From there it passed along the north side of the slope overlooking the Jordan Valley. The border then went down into the valley, ran past the north slope of Beth Hoglah, and ended at the north bay of the Dead Sea, which is the southern end of the Jordan River. The eastern boundary was the Jordan River. This was the inheritance for the families of the tribe of Benjamin. These were the towns given to the families of the tribe of Benjamin: Jericho, Beth Hoglah, Emek Keziz, Beth Arabah, Zemaraim, Bethel, Avim, Perah, Ophrah, Kephar Emani, Ophni, and Geba, 12 towns with their villages, also Gibeon, Ramah, Beroth, Mizpeh, Kephirah, Mozah, Rechem, Erpeel, Taralah, Zelah, Haaleph, Jebus, that is Jerusalem, Gibeah, and Kiriath Jearim, 14 towns with their villages. This was the inheritance given to the families of the tribe of Benjamin. The second allotment of land went to the families of the tribe of Simeon. Their inheritance was surrounded by Judah's territory. Simeon's inheritance included Beersheba, Sheba, Moladah, Hazar Shual, Bela, Ezem, Eltalad, Bethel, Hormah, Ziklag, Beth Markaboth, Hazar Susah, Beth Lebaoth, and Shabruhin, 13 towns with their villages. It also included Ain, Ramon, Ether, and Ashan, 4 towns with their villages, including all the villages as far south as Baalath Beer, also known as Ramah of the Negev. This was the inheritance of the families of the tribe of Simeon. Their inheritance came from part of what had been given to Judah, because Judah's territory was too large for them, so the tribe of Simeon received an inheritance within the territory of Judah. The third allotment of land went to the families of the tribe of Zebulun. The boundary of Zebulun's inheritance started at Sarid. From there it went west, going past Maralah, touching Dabasheth, and proceeding to the brook east of Jokneam. In the other direction, the boundary line went east from Sarid to the border of Kisloth Tabor, and from there to Daberoth and up to Japhia. Then it continued east to Gath Hepher, Eth Kazin, and Ramon, and turned toward Neah. The northern boundary of Zebulun passed Hanathon and ended at the valley of Iftath El. The towns in these areas included Katath, Nahalal, Shimron, Idalah, and Bethlehem, 12 towns with their surrounding villages. This was the inheritance of the families of the tribe of Zebulun. The fourth allotment of land went to the families of the tribe of Issachar. Its boundaries included the following towns: Jezreel, Kesuloth, Shunem, Hapharaim, Shion, Anaharath, Rabbith, Kishion, Ebez, Rameth, En-Ganim, En-Haddah, and Beth Pezez. The boundary also touched Tabor, Shahazumah, and Beth Shemesh, ending at the Jordan River, 16 towns with their surrounding villages. This was the inheritance of the families of the tribe of Issachar. The fifth allotment of land went to the families of the tribe of Asher. Its boundaries included these towns: Helkath, Halai, Beaton, Akshaph, Alamelech, Amad, and Mishal. The boundary of the west went from Carmel to Shihor-Libnath, turned east toward Beth Dagon, and ran as far as Zebulun in the valley of Iftah-El, running north to Beth Emak and Neel. It then continued north to Kabul, Abdon, Rehob, Hammon, Kanah, and as far as Greater Sidon. Then the boundary turned toward Ramah and the fortified city of Tyre, and came to the Mediterranean Sea at Hosah. The territory also included Mehabel, Akzib, Umah, Aphek, and Rahab, 22 towns with their surrounding villages. This was the inheritance of the families of the tribe of Asher. The sixth allotment of land went to the families of the tribe of Naphtali. Its boundary ran from Helef, from the oak at Zaanannim, and extended across to Adami Nekeb, Jabneel, and as far as Lachum, ending at the Jordan River. The western boundary ran past Asnoth Tabor, then to Hukok, and touched the boundary of Zebulun in the south, the boundary of Asher on the west, and the Jordan River on the east. The fortified cities included this territory were Ziddim, Zur, Hamath, Rekath, Kinnereth, Adamah, Ramah, Hazor, Kadesh, Edrei, En-Hazor, Yiron, Migdal El, Horem, Beth Anath, and Beth Shemesh, 19 cities with their surrounding villages. This was the inheritance of the families of the tribe of Naphtali. The seventh and last allotment of land went to the families of the tribe of Dan. The towns within Dan's inheritance included Zorah, Eshtaol, Shemesh, Shalabin, Aijalon, Ithlah, Elon, Timnah, Ekron, Eltekeh, Gibbethon, Baalath, Jehud, Benabarak, Gath Rimmon, and Mejarkon, also Rakan, along with the territory across from Joppa. But the tribe of Dan had trouble taking possession of their land, so they fought against the town of Laish. They captured it, slaughtered its people, and settled there. They renamed the city Dan after their ancestor. This was the inheritance of the families of the tribe of Dan, these towns with their villages. After all the land was divided among the tribes, the Israelites gave a special piece of land to Joshua as his inheritance. For the Lord had said he could have any town he wanted. He chose Timnath-Serah in the hill country of Ephraim. He rebuilt the town and lived there. These are the territories that Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the tribal leaders gave as an inheritance to the tribes of Israel by casting sacred lots in the presence of the Lord at the entrance of the tabernacle at Shiloh. So the division of the land was completed. The Lord said to Joshua, "Now tell the Israelites to designate the cities of refuge as I instructed Moses. Anyone who kills another person unintentionally can run to one of these cities and be protected from the relatives of the one who was killed, for the relatives may seek to avenge the killing. Upon reaching one of these cities, the one who caused the accidental death will appear before the leaders at the city gate and explain what happened. They must allow the accused to enter the city and live there among them. If the relatives of the victim come to avenge the killing, the leaders must not release the accused to them, for the death was accidental. But the person who caused the death must stay in that city and be tried by the community and found innocent. Then the one declared innocent because the death was accidental must continue to live in that city until the death of the high priest who was in office at the time of the accident. After that, the one found innocent is free to return home. The following cities were designated as cities of refuge: Kadesh of Galilee in the hill country of Naphtali, Shechem in the hill country of Ephraim, and Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, in the hill country of Judah. On the east side of the Jordan River across from Jericho, the following cities were designated as cities of refuge: Bezer in the wilderness plain of the tribe of Reuben, Ramoth in Gilead in the territory of the tribe of Gad, and Golan in Bashan in the land of the tribe of Manasseh. These cities were set apart for Israelites as well as the foreigners living among them. Anyone who accidentally killed another person could take refuge in one of these cities. In this way, they could escape being killed in revenge prior to standing trial before the community. Then the leaders of the tribe of Levi came to consult with Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the leaders of the other tribes of Israel. They spoke to them at Shiloh in the land of Canaan, saying, "The Lord instructed Moses to give us towns to live in and pasture lands for our cattle." So by the command of the Lord, the Levites were given as their inheritance the following towns with their pasture lands. The descendants of Aaron, who were members of the Kohathite clan within the tribe of Levi, were given 13 towns that were originally assigned to the tribes of Judah, Simeon, and Benjamin. The other families of the Kohathite clan were allotted 10 towns from the territories of Ephraim, Dan, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. The clan of Gershon received 13 towns from the tribes of Issachar, Asher, Naphtali, and the half-tribe of Manasseh and Bashan. The clan of Merari received 12 cities from the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and Zebulun. So the Israelites obeyed the Lord's command to Moses and assigned these towns and pasture lands to the Levites by casting sacred lots. The Israelites gave the following towns from the tribes of Judah and Simeon to the descendants of Aaron, who were members of the Kohathite clan within the tribe of Levi: Since the sacred lot fell to them first, Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, in the hill country of Judah, along with its surrounding pasture lands. Arba, as an ancestor of Anak, was an ancestor of Anak, but the fields beyond the city and the surrounding villages were given to Caleb son of Jephunneh. The following towns with their pasture lands were given to the descendants of Aaron the priest: Hebron, a city of refuge for those who accidentally killed someone; Libnah, Jatir, Eshtemoa, Holon, Debir, Ain, Juttah, and Beth Shemesh, 9 towns from these 2 tribes. From the tribe of Benjamin, the priests were given the following towns with their surrounding pasture lands: Gibeon, Geba, Anathoth, and Almon, 4 towns. So 13 towns were given to the priests, the descendants of Aaron. The rest of the Kohathite clan from the tribe of Levi was allotted these towns and pasture lands from the tribe of Ephraim: Shechem, a city of refuge for those who accidentally killed someone; Gezer, Kibzaim, and Beth Horon, 4 towns. The following towns and pasture lands were allotted to the priests from the tribe of Dan: Eltekeh, Gibbethon, Aijalon, and Gath-Rimmon, 4 towns. The half-tribe of Manasseh allotted the following towns with their pasture lands to the priests: Taanach and Gath-Rimmon, 2 towns. So 10 towns with their pasture lands were given to the rest of the Kohathite clan. The descendants of Gershon, another clan within the tribe of Levi, received 2 towns with their pasture lands from the half-tribe of Manasseh: Golan and Bashan, a city of refuge, and Be-Eshterah. From the tribe of Issachar they received Kishion, Daberath, Jarmuth, and En-Ganim, 4 towns with their pasture lands. From the tribe of Asher they received Mishal, Abdon, Helkath, and Rahab, 4 towns and their pasture lands. From the tribe of Naphtali they received Kadesh in Galilee, a city of refuge, Hamath Dor, and Kartan, 3 towns with their pasture lands. So 13 towns and their pasture lands were allotted to the clan of Gershon. The rest of the Levites, the Merari clan, were given the following towns from the tribe of Zebulun: Jokneam, Kartah, Dimnah, and Nalalha, 4 towns with their pasture lands. From the tribe of Reuben they received Bezer, Jahaz, Kedemoth, and Mephath, 4 towns with their pasture lands. From the tribe of Gad they received Ramoth and Gilead, a city of refuge, Mahanaim, Heshbon, and Jazer, 4 towns with their pasture lands. So 12 towns were allotted to the clan of Merari. The total number of towns and pasture lands within Israelite territory given to the Levites came to 48. Every one of these towns had pasture lands surrounding it. So the Lord gave to Israel all the land he had sworn to give their ancestors, and they conquered it and settled there. And the Lord gave them rest on every side, just as he had solemnly promised their ancestors. None of their enemies could stand against them, for the Lord helped them conquer all their enemies. All the good promises that the Lord had given Israel came true. Then Joshua called together the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. He told them, "You have done as Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, and you have obeyed every order I have given you. You have not deserted the other tribes, even though the campaign has lasted for such a long time. You have been careful to obey the commands of the Lord your God up to the present day. And now the Lord your God has given the other tribes rest, as he promised them. So go home now to the land Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you on the east side of the Jordan River. But be very careful to obey all the commands and the laws that Moses gave to you. Love the Lord your God, walk in all his ways, obey his commands, be faithful to him, and serve him with all your heart and all your soul." So Joshua blessed them and sent them home. Now Moses had given the land of Bashan to the half-tribe of Manasseh east of the Jordan. The other half of the tribe was given land west of the Jordan. As Joshua sent them away, he blessed them and said, "Share with your relatives back home the great wealth you have taken from your enemies. Share with them your large herds of cattle, your silver and gold, your bronze and iron, and your clothing." So the men of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh left the rest of Israel at Shiloh in the land of Canaan. They started the journey back to their town land of Gilead, the territory that belonged to them according to the Lord's command through Moses. But while they were still in Canaan, before they crossed the Jordan River, Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh built a very large altar near the Jordan River at a place called Geliloth. When the rest of Israel heard that they had built the altar at Geliloth west of the Jordan River in the land of Canaan, the whole assembly gathered at Shiloh and prepared to go to war against their brother tribes. First, however, they sent a delegation led by Phinehas, son of Eleazar the priest. They crossed the river to talk with the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. In this delegation were 10 high officials of Israel, one from each of the 10 tribes. and each a leader within the family divisions of Israel. When they arrived in the land of Gilead, they said to the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and the half tribe of Manasseh, the whole community of the Lord demands to know why you are betraying the God of Israel. How could you turn away from the Lord and build an altar in rebellion against him? Was our sin at Peor not enough? We are not yet fully cleansed of it, even after the plague that struck the entire assembly of the Lord. And yet today you are turning away from following the Lord. If you rebel against the Lord today, he will be angry with all of us tomorrow. If you need the altar because your land is defiled, then join us on our side of the river where the Lord lives among us in his tabernacle, and we will share our land with you. But do not rebel against the Lord, or draw us into your rebellion by building another altar for yourselves. There is only one true altar of the Lord our God. Didn't God punish all of the people of Israel when Achan, a member of the clan of Zerah, sinned by stealing the things set apart for the Lord? He was not the only one who died because of that sin. Then the people of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh answered to these high officials, The Lord alone is God. The Lord alone is God. We have not built the altar in rebellion against the Lord. If we have done so, do not spare our lives this day. But the Lord knows, and let all Israel know too, that we have not built an altar for ourselves to turn away from the Lord. Nor will we use it for our burnt offerings, or grain offerings, or peace offerings. If we have built it for this purpose, may the Lord himself punish us. We have built this altar because we fear that in the future your descendants will say to ours, What right do you have to worship the Lord, the God of Israel? The Lord has placed the Jordan River as a barrier between our people and your people. You have no claim to the Lord, and your descendants may make our descendants stop worshiping the Lord. So we decided to build the altar not for burnt sacrifices, but as a memorial. It will remind our descendants and your descendants that we too have the right to worship the Lord at his sanctuary with our burnt offerings, sacrifices, and peace offerings. Then your descendants will not be able to say to ours, You have no claim to the Lord. If they say this, our descendants can reply, Look at this copy of the Lord's altar that our ancestors made. It is not for burnt offerings or sacrifices. It is a reminder of the relationship both of us have with the Lord. Far be it from us to rebel against the Lord or turn away from him by building our own altar for burnt offerings, grain offerings, or sacrifices. Only the altar of the Lord our God that stands in front of the tabernacle may be used for that purpose. When Phinehas the priest and the high officials heard from the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, they were satisfied. Phinehas, son of Eleazar the priest, replied to them, Today we know the Lord is among us because you have not sinned against the Lord as we thought. Instead, you have rescued Israel from being destroyed by the Lord. Then Phinehas, son of Eleazar the priest, and the 10 high officials left the tribes of Reuben and Gad in Gilead and returned to the land of Canaan to tell the Israelites what had happened. And all the Israelites were satisfied and praised God and spoke no more of war against Reuben and Gad. The people of Reuben and Gad named the altar Witness, for they said, It is a witness between us and them that the Lord is our God too. The years passed, and the Lord had given the people of Israel rest from all of their enemies. Joshua, who was now very old, called together all the elders, leaders, judges, and officers of Israel. He said to them, I am an old man now. You have seen everything the Lord your God has done for you during my lifetime. The Lord your God has fought for you against your enemies. I have allotted to you as an inheritance all the land of the nations yet unconquered, as well as the land of those we have already conquered. From the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea in the west, this land will be yours, for the Lord your God will drive out all the people living there now. You will live there instead of them, just as the Lord your God promised you. So be strong. Be very careful to follow all the instructions written in the book of the law of Moses. Do not deviate from them in any way. Make sure you do not associate with the other people still remaining in the land. Do not even mention the names of their gods, much less swear by them or worship them. But be faithful to the Lord your God, as you have done until now. For the Lord has driven out great and powerful nations for you, and no one has yet been able to defeat you. Each one of you will put to flight 1,000 of the enemy, for the Lord your God fights for you just as he has promised. So be very careful to love the Lord your God. But if you turn away from him and intermarry with the survivors of the nations remaining among you, then know for certain that the Lord your God will no longer drive them out from your land. Instead, they will be a snare and a trap to you, a pain in your side and a thorn in your eyes, and you will be wiped out from this good land the Lord your God has given you. Soon I will die, going the way of all the earth. Deep in your hearts you know that every promise of the Lord your God has come true. Not a single one has failed. But as surely as the Lord your God has given you the good things he promised, he will also bring disaster on you if you disobey him. He will completely wipe you out from this good land he has given you. If you break the covenant of the Lord your God by worshiping and serving other gods, his anger will burn against you, and you will quickly be wiped out from the good land he has given you. Then Joshua summoned all the people of Israel to Shechem, along with their elders, leaders, judges, and officers. So they came and presented themselves to God. Joshua said to the people, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Your ancestors, including Terah, the father of Abraham and Nahor, lived beyond the Euphrates River, and they worshipped other gods. But I took your ancestor Abraham from the land beyond the Euphrates and led him into the land of Canaan. I gave him many descendants through his son Isaac. To Isaac I gave Jacob and Esau. To Esau I gave the hill country of Seir, while Jacob and his children went down into Egypt. Then I sent Moses and Aaron, and I brought them terrible plagues on Egypt. And afterward I brought you out as free people. But when your ancestors arrived at the Red Sea, the Egyptians chased after you with chariots and horses. When you cried out to the Lord, I put darkness between you and the Egyptians. I brought the sea crashing down on the Egyptians, drowning them. With your very own eyes you saw what I did. Then you lived in the wilderness for many years. Finally I brought you into the land of the Amorites on the east side of the Jordan. They fought against you, but I gave you victory over them, and you took possession of their land. Then Balak son of Zippor, king of Moab, started a war against Israel. He asked Balaam son of Beor to curse you, but I would not listen to him. Instead I made Balaam bless you, and so I rescued you from Balak. When you crossed the Jordan River and came to Jericho, the men of Jericho fought against you. There were also many others who fought you, including the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Girgashites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. But I gave you victory over them, and I sent hornets ahead of you to drive out the 2 kings of the Amorites. It was not your swords or bows that brought you victory. I gave you land you had not worked for, and I gave you cities you did not build, the cities in which you are now living. I gave you vineyards and olive groves for food, though you did not plant them. So honor the Lord and serve him wholeheartedly. Put away forever the idols your ancestors worshipped when they lived beyond the Euphrates River and in Egypt. Serve the Lord alone. But if you are unwilling to serve the Lord, then choose today whom you will serve. Would you prefer the gods your ancestors served beyond the Euphrates? Or will it be the gods of the Amorites in whose land you now live? But as for me and my family, we will serve the Lord." The people replied, "We would never forsake the Lord and worship other gods. For the Lord our God is the only one who rescued us and our ancestors from slavery in the land of Egypt. He performed mighty miracles before our very eyes. As we traveled through the wilderness among our enemies, he preserved us. It was the Lord who drove out the Amorites and the other nations living here in the land. So we too will serve the Lord, for he alone is our God." Then Joshua said to the people, "You are not able to serve the Lord, for he is a holy and jealous God. He will not forgive your rebellion and sins. If you forsake the Lord and serve other gods, he will turn against you and destroy you, even though he has been so good to you." But the people answered Joshua, saying, "No, we are determined to serve the Lord." "You are accountable for this decision," Joshua said. "You have chosen to serve the Lord." "Yes," they replied, "we are accountable." "All right then," Joshua said, "destroy the idols among you, and turn your hearts to the Lord, the God of Israel." The people said to Joshua, "We will serve the Lord our God. We will obey him alone." So Joshua made a covenant with the people that day at Shechem, committing them to a permanent and binding contract between themselves and the Lord. Joshua recorded these things in the book of the law of God. As a reminder of their agreement, he took a huge stone and rolled it beneath the oak tree beside the tabernacle of the Lord. Joshua said to all the people, "This stone has heard everything the Lord said to us. It will be a witness to testify against you if you go back on your word to God." Then Joshua sent the people away, each to his own inheritance. Soon after this, Joshua, son of Nun, the servant of the Lord, died at the age of 110 years old. They buried him in the land he had inherited at Timnath-Serah in the hill country of Ephraim, north of the Mount Gash. Israel served the Lord throughout the lifetime of Joshua and of the leaders who outlived him, those who had personally experienced all that the Lord had done for Israel. The bones of Joseph, which the Israelites had brought along with them when they left Egypt, were buried at Shechem, in the parcel of ground Jacob had bought from the sons of Hamor for 100 pieces of silver. This land was located in the territory allotted to the tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh, the descendants of Joseph. Eleazar, son of Aaron, also died. He was buried in the hill country of Ephraim, in the town of Gibeah, which had been given to his son Phinehas.